Daily market recap for 1/3/2022. Let's go. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is my stock, Bitcoin, gold, and silver daily market recaps. Please subscribe if you like what you see. Thank you. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, with a market recap for Monday, January 3rd, 2022. Happy New Year, and let's get into it. Again, if you have questions, stop by the Discord room. If you're a subscriber or not in here kind of checking out things or paying attention to what's going on, there's a lot of nuggets always dropped. I mean, we had a conversation talking about, like, what do bond rates higher, dollar higher, why would stocks go higher? And it's like, well, if you're paying attention, typically an excellent time of the year to make money in the market. Expect profit taking mid-January. January effect, early January. Earnings season, market typically rises. Just keep that in mind. Entering action in gold, and here's another seasonal trade that I'd be watching. So, I mean, if you know the seasonality of the markets and you're familiar with what to expect, I mean, the first day of any year is every year is new money put to work. So, I mean, the bond market, we'll get into all this stuff. Things are all over the place, but you shouldn't really have too much overthinking about the markets. Like, they are what they are. And I hate these like correlations because people think the market's supposed to do the bonds do this, market should do that, and gold does this, the dollar should. I mean, it's like, man, these correlations, if you study them and you go back on the monthly, you see they don't really relate always. It's more of CNBC and Fox Business. They don't have really nothing to talk about, so they try to create correlations day to day. So I hope that's an interesting little nugget that people might be not familiar with. But let's jump into it. Bitcoin, again, big cup and handle. Zoom in, you can see it's just basing here. I mean, this is one of those things where markets are really good at frustrating people, like at bottoms, at tops. I mean, this can happen a lot. So we've said 46,000 areas, a strong buy. I mean, could it come back down here to 42? Potentially, but right now you've got highs and lows. I mean, it's very support equals resistance. Like, that's resistance, and this is support. It's really that simple. And so if you go below it, it should go lower. And you go above it, it should go higher. That's Bitcoin for you. I mean, there's really nothing to say at this point. So if you're not sure what's going on, just stop in the Discord room. We can talk about it a little more. Let's get into bond market, because this is one thing that, I've said a million times. As long as the bond market stays stable, the market doesn't really care. Well, first day of the year, bond market got sold pretty hard. Now, again, we're coming into this trend line, and one day doesn't make a trend. I would just keep an eye on it, because it could be like some sort of big red doji, then pop. Or big red like here. Big. When I say big, I mean I say just a red open close, and then you flip right back around. Or up like here at the high. You had a big green up candle, and then totally turned around. So it's worth eyeing. Again, if rates, they don't really, today's move probably, I don't know, an eighth maybe in the market, in the mortgage market, a quarter, I don't know, maybe. It just really depends. All right, new money, new year. Obviously, someone was short the dollar and popping it. Now, this might change your perception short term of the dollar, but I'm going to let the levels speak, because I know the action intraday can be a little sneaky. Again, why would people buy dollar if it has to do more with overseas issues? That would be my concern. At this point, I mean, just draw it. I mean, look at what this really is. I mean, it's just a freaking chop zone. I mean, it's not really telling you much. I mean, I think it's probably bearish, but today's candle changes that a little bit. But you close at the 20-day. Let's look at the final, because sometimes I like to see how the volume is at the end of the day. Yeah, I mean, it looks like, yeah, tough to say. Let's look at the last hour. These charts suck. I don't like trading off of this computer ever, because it's a laptop. I like my 8 screens, but these charts don't seem like what I want them. That's a little bit of an anomaly. If you look at the biggest candle of the day, and here's a good volume price analysis like anomaly. Wouldn't you think this candle should have more volume than this one? Just keep that in mind. Notice what happened. And then doji, and then we closed near the lower end of this hourly range. That's the kind of stuff you look for intraday if you're not sure. As of right now, need more information. Come back tomorrow to really figure out what's going on with the dollar. Good old VIX. we've talked about this. You know, it popped the 200-day. All this is resistance. It continues to act as resistance. The market can just continue to grind higher, and the VIX can just play dead. At this point, I don't really care too much about the VIX in the sense, like, I don't think the market's going to tank at this point, but it kind of is what it is, and so just let the levels play out. So on that note, it's just, unless the VIX gets over the 19 level, it can just chop around. I mean, that's just part of the market. So let's get into the SPYs. What did we say? Last couple days was really nothing. You need more information. Nice little hammer here. You still need more information, and this is what's hard about trading at times. I mean, you think about it, you're in just this tight range. This is the dominant trend. This is the counter trend. It's chopping. Let it play out. Get over 478 area and could rip right back to the channel highs. It's really that simple. I mean, I'm not bearish. I mean, if you've listened to the previous, I'm not really bearish, but I'm also not statically bullish. Like, I think you need to play names specific to how they look and just go from there. I mean, I think the market could chop around for a couple weeks, and that could mean higher highs and chop, you know. Qs, we talked about it, didn't like how it got up in here and then backed off. We held the what is this, the 8-day? No. Oh, sorry, the VWAP. No, that's not it. Again, I have the colors different. Whatever. It held here. It's holding. Nothing really exciting kind of thing. I mean, holding the VWAP intraday, that's solid. Back in here, need more information. Because the sellers might show up once you get up to the higher end of the range. We need to counteract all those sellers to continue going higher. And if it needs a chop, hey, chop is normal. I mean, it's one of those things where at bottoms, at tops, you get this choppy action. And if we're at a top, just be aware. That could be a top. And if it's choppy, but, you know, let the levels play out. As of right now, it's tough to really be bearish above 400. Below it, it could be. It's just, again, I hate to fight the seasonality. And if you trade long enough, you just really don't. I mean, that's where, when we get into the Tesla trade, like, fighting the seasonality did not pay me today. And it just is what it is. Gold, again, no volume. It backed up, hit the 200-day perfectly, like, think, and bounced in. Let's go look at the hourly. Again, anomaly pre-market. Market opens, and then ding, 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 ding. Bounced, and then closed. I mean, I hate gold some days just because the trading action can be confusing in the sense that you're like, what the hell just happened? I mean, it looked great. 3-day range, back off. Central banks hit gold overnight and created some clear action that scared some people out. The volume's high, but if you saw the intraday action as well, you start looking at it, you go, all right, you had a nice pop and then wham, and then the volume got really tight, which that's what's so hard here is you have one bammer and then no follow through. So it to me just looks like intraday noise. It's hard to say. I mean, I would still say you see higher highs and higher lows. That's all you really need to worry about. Silver, we talked about in this Discord room. I was like, man, I can't believe it's at 21. And guess what? I mean, it bounced from 21. Higher highs, higher lows. I mean, it's silver. It's the markets. I mean, they love to play games intraday. And if you think every day is perfect and great and going in your favor, you're going to over leverage and fuck yourself. Excuse my language. Gdxj, Doji, back off. Not ideal. Again, for a bull, but this is what's interesting. The closing candle, I mean, somebody was buying, but also someone was selling. It just didn't tell you enough. So typically when you see that and you close near the lows, I'd say, all right, let's see more information. And this is, again, what makes this hard is you gap down and the day's action is in a tight range. I mean, I think we traded in a 15-cent range. I mean, that's like 0.5% all day, like going nowhere. Somebody was absorbing down here. That's how I would look at it, but you need more information to confirm it. Gdxj, same kind of thing. Hit the 20-day. I mean, perfectly stomped it. And higher highs, higher lows. I mean, this isn't like super rocket science kind of stuff you're picking up today. But, I mean, that's what I tell people. Like, the markets can be boring at time. And they say don't short a boring market. All right, nice wick. AG drops. pops back. I know it's below the 20-day. It's not really ideal. But here we go. I mean, when you see this long wick after this action, I mean, if you were a bear, you needed to close under 1075. You didn't. So call it what it is. But, I mean, I'm sensing some shampoo and going to have to run a Head and Shoulders campaign here because this is what it's kind of looking like. So just, again, the shoulder lines don't have to be perfect. But this action, that long wick tells you somebody was buying. Just keep that in mind. Again, try not to be emotional here. I mean, I personally took a loss today in the markets because of Tesla, but we'll get into that shortly enough. It could have been way worse. PAAS, KL held the 200-day. I mean, this is just chopping higher and higher. I love to see the rocket action, and we'll get it at some point, ideally, but hey, it just is what it is. You know, you take what the market gives you. You know, if you had a time machine, you went back and looked at it, it might just be 1 or 2 days and you didn't even think about it. But since it's live, it just feels so much worse than it is. Same thing with PAAS. I mean, backed up to the 20-day. I mean, it's not a surprise that it takes a little break. So let's get into letter X because this is one we've got a buy alert at. And if you're bought in the 22s, what did I say? I said the 100, 250-day confluence is going to be resistance. We got up there and backed off a little bit. Nothing crazy. Just high and tight's good. I like it. Keep that in mind. VALE, I mean, we've said, you know, if you got in at the 20-day, you're looking good. I mean, it seems to be holding the 20-day as it's trending higher. It didn't touch it today, but if you see a touch tomorrow, I mean, you can pull the trigger with a tight stop because I think this is consolidation. This is what I consider high and tight, right? Like, think about it. If you run from $11 to $14.30, I mean, do the math. I mean, it's a solid 20-something, 25% move. Chop. I mean, this is the action you want to see because you're shaking out hands and you should go higher. That's just typically how it goes. Now, again, there's no certainty in trading, but that's the kind of formation you look for. AMD, we said Head and Shoulders top potentially backs up down to the 20-day, 50-day, it pops. Again, I think this is one of those trades where if you're a bear, you need to stay below 156. If you're a bull, you need to get back over that. Now you're in no man's land. As long as you're chopping between this 20-day, 50-day confluence at 142 and 157. I know that's a wide range, but it could go sideways, and it could just really be one of those frustrating trades. And if you've traded long enough, you've seen what frustration does. Like, it annoys you because if you're looking at other things in other spots, you'd be like, oh, I should have made money there. Apple, this is one that we've been pretty good at nailing this one. Specifically said break this trend line bullish. Said the 20-day was bullish. What did I say? I did not like it back, hitting here, but I said as long as it stayed high and tight, it's good. Well, what happens? You got above it, made a higher high, decent volume, trade on. I mean, I've said it multiple times in the video, in the daily recaps. I really expect somewhere in the 190s at some point in Apple. And if it gets up to 190s and the market's cranking, maybe it gets up to 200. Maybe it gets over that trend line. I mean, that shit can happen temporarily. And in a monthly chart, temporary could be, a week or two? You just have to remember that. MicroStrategy. Bitcoin bottoms. I mean, again, you can just tell, this thing is just waiting. And you could almost just say, wait for it to get over the 20-day or don't play it because this is chopping out. So set an alert, keep it simple, and just do what you got to do. So let's do Roblox and then get into the pain of the day for me. And again, if you ever had a loss in trading, you don't really joke. You don't really give shit to people. You're just hey, it's part of the trading. Try not to really affect it. But I like to use them as teaching moments. Roblox 50-day, again, I've said, once we got the 2 times range, just let it chill the fuck out. I like it down here in the low 90s. It's not going anywhere. It's one of those trades where you let it relax. You let it breathe. All right, so this is where I have a pair trade going, and this is why I did short Tesla, if you are familiar and listened. And I mean, we bought it down to 93.95. The pair trade is to see this thing get over the 20-day. I've got 5 for 1 for every share of short Tesla I had, but unfortunately, we're under the 20-day. It's not great. We'll wait and see. This is where I got boned today, and you know what? I deserve it. I mean, I put a trade in here. Hold on. Let me see if I can draw it on we have an hourly. Yeah, I started taking hits in the morning because I thought the action was, again, this chart's 7, okay, 8. Yeah, here's the start of the market. And I thought you could take stabs in here. And I had a cost basis in the 160s, and then I just had a hard stop. And luckily, the hard stop hit because when it got over 180, I was gone. I mean, you can see where I was looking at 175. And the reason why I wonder if you can see it better. Again, on my other charts, it's so easy to see why I do things. I think I had, what was it? No, that's not it. Anyway, I just put I said in my mind, I don't want to lose more than X amount of dollars on the stock trade, you know, because if I lose, and I lost $2,000. If I lose $2,000, that's why I'm out. Again, I would do that trade over and over again, knowing that, hey, I would risk losing $2,000, knowing that this thing could collapse 100, 200 points. Well, if you lose $100 or 100 shares times 20 points, it seems like a lot, but to me it was risk worth the reward, because I've seen Tesla absolutely just flip all over. And when I look at the news today, I mean, it was up on what? It surged on beating its record numbers, which again, like, this is just a bullshit headline, because if you actually look at what their headline, like their numbers were predicted many quarters ago in the beginning of the year, I mean, they expected over, Jesus, I hate this mouse. They were expecting over a million million deliveries by the end of the year. Didn't hit it. Then you hear this, they're recalling 6,700 cars. I mean, again, this is what I always tell people, like, the news, if I was like bearish because I had a position and I was looking at the news, I would have lost another 20 points on and $2,000. I put my hard stop in, I let the market do it. Congratulations to the bulls. If you want to gloat that I was wrong, then fuck it, I don't care. I mean, again, losing's part of the trading, but again, I liked shorting at resistance, and it was just happened to be wrong. And this is the thing, the seasonality ultimately became the biggest factor today. That was probably why it was dropping. Then the gamma squeezes, all that little shit going on. But hey, congratulations to the bulls. I don't have any, again, I don't really get jealous of winning, and I also don't really like to pile on people when they lose. Like, that's just part of trading. So some days is good, some days is bad. It's like being a fishing guide, wink wink. And some days the weather's great and the fishing's amazing, and the next day it's not, you know. And it's not really anything you did differently. I mean, you had a system, you had an idea, and it just didn't work. Just part of trading. PENN Gaming, what did I say? Get over the 20-day. We were holding up. I mean, and today's action was not a thing of beauty, but if you're in at the 20-day, the 20-day becomes your stop. You know, just kind of keep that in mind. EXPI, and I think this is a good buy down here. I mean, it's not ideal like that, in that you want to, you know, everyone wants to buy and see the rocket move, but the longer it bases down here, it shakes out the weak hands. You're at the bottom of the volume at price like nodes here between this level. If it holds here, I mean, market makers got his volume and should go higher. So I mean, I keep it that simple. XOP, and let's end it on the oil names. What did we say? Wait for the trend line to break. We didn't like this candle. We said we like that, but we didn't like the volume. We backed up. I like this. I like the volume. ExxonMobil now looks good. First thing you're going to hit is the 50-day. Don't be surprised if it bases there. But this is the volume, you know, like, and you're like, well, how do you know it's more volume? And it's like, just, you can draw a silly little trend line, and that looks like a volume breakout. Now, again, it's not amazingly great, but it's comparative. It's all comparative with XOP, and so it made a higher high or a higher low here. I mean, low, I would consider that a low because you had multiple days of pullback. You know, that's a counter trend. Higher high, right on it. Let's get into ExxonMobil because Clayman was talking about this one, and it's like, wait for the channel to break. That was a false signal. Boner. Yeah, that looks bullish. Now, again, do you chase it? I don't. I would wait for a pullback because in an uptrend, you get like these days of shit, you know? So if you like Exxon, I like it. Now, again, this is really interesting because this looks like a trap, you know? Again, we talked about volume breaking out. That's a clear volume node breakout. You know, you held like this is like a sloppier chart. Volume at price, and it looks good. So keep that in mind. I like it. I mean, I'm going to talk about a little bit more of the mentality of things again, because I want people to understand, like, if I make a mistake trading and I talk about it in the videos, I hope you learn from it. Like, don't, like, people come out here and they're just like, oh, you fucked up, you did the wrong thing. And it's like, hey, it happens to everybody. But what I love to do is teach, like, this is a learning moment. Like, here you go. And the learning moment is what? The seasonality was bullish. You were shorting a stock that you think had risk reward, but ultimately the demand was there because of new money coming into the market. It took it higher. You know, that's where I had my stop. I had my entry. And if I did not use my stop, I would have lost another $2,000. And it's not the end of the world, but it's one of those things where you know, when you're digging your own trench, you know, the first thing they say is put down the shovel, stop digging. If it's not working, you get out. So I hope that kind of stuff helps. The mentality of trading is the key here. You know, no one's perfect. It's just, hey, you got to be able to admit when you're wrong. And that's just literally what it is. So I congratulate all the bulls on this. I'm probably going to let it ride now and see what happens, fill this gap up here. But we'll see what happens. I mean, the seasonality could take this higher. I mean, the market is what it is. You're just trying to create a trade idea based on probabilities. And if you're wrong, you just throw it away. It's like folding pocket aces or kings. I mean, again, when the board shows you're going to lose. Like, if you play poker enough, you know, like, there's times where pre-flop you got the nuts, and then the flop comes and you're like, I just got to go. I lost. You know, someone hit a 3 of a kind or a flush or a straight or whatever. That's what it is. So I hope this kind of stuff helps. This is real talk. So I hope everyone does well. Hit me up if you got questions. Please subscribe if you like, and we'll talk. Thanks for watching. For more trading knowledge and insight, click on the videos on the right, and also join the Discord room. Link is in the description below. If you have any questions, please stop on by the Discord room and let's chat. Thank you.